So Darkrai recently got moved to OU and we're gonna give him a try. The first set is a Life Orb Sweeper right here with Nasty Plot, running Dark Pulse, Sludge Bomb, and Focus Blast. The next set is a Choice Spec set. This gives you that immediate power without needing to boost. Very similar set, but instead we replace Nasty Plot with Psy Shock. And lastly, we have the Wide Lens set, which tries to take advantage of Hypnosis and Darkrai's unique ability, Bad Dreams. Outside of this, the ability is pretty useless, but either way, still a good Pokemon. Now let's try it out. First game, they start off with the Deoxys Speed. I go into my Deoxys Defense. We both get that pressure rolling. He starts talking a lot of trash over there. Now my Deoxys can't get his rocks up. He then goes for the knockoff, does some good damage, gets rid of my leftovers. I go for the knockoff myself, do a little bit, get rid of his Sash. I figure he can't do much to Darkrai, so I immediately switch to him. He sets up some rocks, goes for the spikes as well. I go for the Dark Pulse, take out Deoxys. His next Pokemon is in the Enamorate. He goes for that Stellar Terra Blast. Does big damage, but Darkrai is able to hold on. Retaliate with the Sludge Bomb, take him out in one shot. He then goes into his own Darkrai. I decide to risk it, go for the Focus Blast, outspeed, take him out in one shot. My opponent then forfeits. Good game. Alrighty, now let's try out the Choice Specs. I start with the Darkrai, they start with the Deoxys Defense. They get the pressure going, immediately switch into the Hydrapple. I go for the Dark Pulse, do a good chunk to him. Afraid of the Square, I then switch into my Iron Valiant, get that Quark Drive boost, he goes for the Recover, gets all of his health back. He then switches into the most frustrating Pokemon, Gliscor. I go for the Psyshock, do barely anything. He gets that Toxic going, I go for the Moonblast, do big damage. He decides to set up some spikes. He then goes for the Protect, trying to stall out, heal up a little bit. My Moonblast does nothing. He switches into his other wall, the Toxapex. I go for the Moonblast. Even with the crit, he eats that right up. I'm going to speed up this next part for you guys. It's a lot of me doing Psyshock, him recovering, and setting up some more hazards. Unfortunately, I'm not able to break through this massive tank here. I definitely should have switched out a little earlier, but I really thought I was eventually going to be able to break through. He's eventually able to get a little bit of damage before switching into his Square over here. I go for the Psyshock, do absolutely nothing. I fire up to close combat, Iron Boulder just hangs on, I get the defense lower, he goes for the Zen Headbutt, takes me out. I go into my Tentacruel to get rid of those Toxic Spikes. Unfortunately, this is a huge misplay as he goes for the Zen Headbutt, takes me out in one shot. But it's okay, because this is the part we've all been waiting for. I finally go into my Darkrai, he switches into his Deoxys Defense, gets that pressure going. I go for the Dark Pulse, do huge specs damage. Able to outspeed, go for another Dark Pulse, take him out. He then goes into his other Square, the Hydrapple. I decide to switch into my Deoxys Defense, take a little bit of damage. I sped this part up a little bit too because there's a lot of no damage and setting up some more hazards. Both of us unable to get any meaningful damage. He eventually switches into his Gliscor, takes some damage, and goes right back to stalling, getting that Poison Heal going. Predicting the Protect, I make an aggressive switch into my Darkrai. Unfortunately, get Toxic, but I make the right call. And now you're going to be able to see that raw Choice Specs damage. I go for the Terra Dark Pulse, take out the Gliscor. He goes back into the Hydrapple, takes all that hazard damage, and able to fire off another Dark Pulse. He just hangs on, but thankfully I get the lucky flinch. That Toxic damage is starting to rack up, but Darkrai doesn't care. Go for another Dark Pulse, take him out. I'm able to just survive that Toxic damage, allowing me to get one more shot off. He goes into the Goldango, and immediately switches into the Toxapex, who takes all that hazard damage. I fire off one last Dark Pulse, thankfully clean up the Toxapex as well. Darkrai finally goes down to the poison. As you can see, Specs Darkrai really packs a punch, but isn't able to take out absolutely everything in one shot. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get any gameplay with the Wide Lens Hypnosis set, but that's definitely something I want to try out. In conclusion, I do not think Darkrai is broken at all and would actually make a very good inclusion in the OU tier, and at this time I think Ubers is a little bit out of reach. But let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts down below. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for future content. Peace!